Hello and welcome to Photographer's Cast. We are back with more stories. I'm Farsi Photo,
And I'm Pinsel,
and we've got a topic from one of our listeners.
which we are very glad for. They said that furries tend to see photography as less of an art form than they do other types of art. A mix of dumbing down with smartphones making photography more accessible as a whole, and the fact that furries, according to them, rather escape reality than face it, which is why photos are not as appreciated in general. What about you? Would you say that this is the reason why a photo might not get as much traction as other art?
Honestly, there is quite a lot of things combined in one thing. One thing is the dumping down with cell phones. One thing is the amount of traction photography gets, and one thing is appreciation of the art. I'm going to start with the last one, appreciation for the art, and an unpopular opinion. How much art would you say an average furry photographer like me, for example, is putting into his work?
As in how much effort and thought you're putting into photos?
Not effort. Not effort. How much art?
Personally, I'm more of the opinion that photography is not art but a craftsmanship or a trade that you work in. So I would pose the very controversial opinion that it's not necessarily art, because at some point you run out of the artistic way that you can do things, and you just do the repetition over and over and just deliver a product instead of creating art.
I was kind of hoping that you are going to disagree with me, but I'm actually of the same opinion.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah. I don't see myself as an artist. I see myself as a craftsman. Craftsman is doing stuff in a predictable way and is good at producing consistent results. Artist is, in my opinion, someone that is doing something that is very creative, that is always different, that is adding something unexpected. And in all honesty, I don't feel like this is the case with me, and I don't think that this is the case with a lot of fursuit photographers or furry photographers. We very much repeat the same kind of pictures. We are depicting a fursuiter usually, showing what he's doing on a convention or making portrait photos, but they are very similar. They are well done. There is effort put into them, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a lot of art.
Mm-hmm. I do think that we have had this discussion at the first episode, even, where we basically came to the conclusion that if the fursuiter wants the pictures of them, for example, at Nordic FosCon with the red sculpture, the white sculpture, that they want the picture for themselves and they don't care about any artistic approach to it. They just want the picture of themselves done, which is why photography
Exactly.
is not really an art form per se, at least not in our context.
I'm pretty sure that you can do artistic photography, but it's often not appreciated by general public. If you look at what passes as artistic photo, it's usually weird. And it's weird because if you repeat the concept of a pretty portrait or a pretty landscape, where's the art? You are a craftsman. But what has changed from the first episode is that at that point we have been regarding the position of a photographer and the position of a client, and now we are having general public. You take a picture as a photographer, you deliver it to the client, and then one of you puts it online, puts it on social network, and we are expecting to get attention, to get likes, to get appreciation. And it's often not coming in the amounts that we may have expected. If you want a recipe for getting a lot of likes, it's simple. Photograph popular fursuiters. That's it.
Oh, yes. Where you basically complained on Instagram, was it? If I'm not mistaken. Where the photos that I personally also very much appreciate because they were creative. They had something with it, something to it. You put thought and effort into the scene, into the posing, and then, without meaning any bad words about it, but just first leaning against the wall and bam, 1000 likes, compared to the other one with 40 and 80. I can understand that this is very, let's say, not negative, yes, but disengaging, more like almost depressing, because you put all the effort into the photo and nobody sees it.
I'm going to respond with another story from my not so recent past. I've made a picture which I've really put effort into. Lighting, props, everything. I'm really proud of it. I still consider it one of my best photos. And during some 4 days, it received like 40 likes. And then I've made a simple descriptive picture of a cute suit sitting, showing his paws. No interesting light, no interesting pose. And bam, within 2 days, it has 400 likes. And I've complained to my friend, who is also a photographer, and I was like, why the hell am I even trying? It doesn't make any sense. I've put so much effort into this and nobody appreciates it. And his response was, okay, so why are you not just photographing boring fursuits showing their paws? And that's, if you want likes, this is exactly the way to go. And it made me think. And my conclusion was, because it's boring. I mean, I will do it. I'm happy to take a picture of any fursuit. But what I really want to do is take interesting pictures, scenic pictures, pictures that tell a story, pictures that make furry world come alive. I want to live in a world which is inhabited by furries. And since this is not possible, I'm trying to create it in my photos. And this is why I'm going to keep trying pictures which are maybe not getting as many likes as I would appreciate, because of course we want dopamine. Each of us wants the dopamine of getting likes online. Because it's not the only thing I want to be doing. I'm happy to make photo shoots as a craftsman, and I have my own small projects which I put much more effort into and from which I don't get the appreciation or the attention, but I get the likes. Uh, Perfect. But I get the satisfaction of getting the picture I wanted, of making a piece of reality that doesn't really exist.
But then again, when we are going to the quote, there were three things that we basically have to consider here. It's also the dumbing down, or more polite people would probably say democratization of photography, that everybody has a phone camera and everybody just wants to have the, let's say, the goods, the pause, for example, in the photo. The general audience wants to see the pause. They want to see the fursuiter. They don't want to see a fursuiter standing on a lake with a nice scenic background, or okay, with a nice scenic background, maybe when they're in the Alps or in the mountain ranges and everything like that, those pictures typically get a lot of traction. But have a regular background and try to do something in combination with the surroundings. The fursuiter is not prominent in the frame. That means nobody actually cares for a regular landscape photo if they're not a photographer. They want to see the fursuits. And if they don't see the fursuits in the first half a second where they see the picture, then you just skip past it. And that's the same with the pause, I think. If you put the pause in the camera, it doesn't matter where they were taken, if they're on the Mount Everest or if they're in their own bedroom, pause are pause. You can travel to the most scenic location, take a picture of the fursuiter, of the pause, of the close-up, for example, with f1.2 aperture, and it will work. It doesn't matter if you're on any, where you are, it doesn't matter. But the photographer, the craftsman, and the artist, they want to show where they are, because you can take those photos in the studio. Nobody would care because it's the same output in the same context.
Well, have you noticed what kind of pictures are most popular among non-furries?
I think the nondescript pictures, at least when I'm visiting people or my family and everything like that, they typically have either landmarks or just general landscape of whatever. If they care for a specific landmark, they put up the Golden Gate Bridge. They put up and skyline of New York. They put up whatever, maybe the church in Dresden, if they care about that.
But this is becoming a bit of an art. But look at the social networks. What is going to get the most traction? Puppy, kitty, and a naked girl.
Yes. So we have to shave the cats. I mean, I heard naked pussy is in trend.
Yes, but let's keep the fur on. As
Alright.
far as I'm concerned, I much prefer fursuits with fur. Naked pussy.
Have we had a space cat fursuit so far?
I'm pretty sure that something like that already exists, but if you ask me, I will prefer the fur kitty. I'm also not immune to the kitsch aspect of being fuzzy and cute.
Yeah.
What I want to say is that subject matters. Subject matters a lot. For a lot of people, and I'm not blaming them, it's perfectly understandable, and I'm not immune to that either. Photography isn't about the art of the photographer. Consider movies. How many people are going to know the name of the main actor? How many people are going to know the name of the director? And how many people are going to know the name of cameraman?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares who is holding the camera, and they are super important. And they are actually artists. They are doing some really creative work, but nobody cares. You want to see the guy that is in the movie, and maybe you are interested in the director because he's going to shape the movie. If he's good, if you have good experience with his movies, then you are probably going to like his other movies that he makes. But when it comes to cameraman, he's just a tool. He's providing you with the looks you wanted, but his job is under the radar. And the same goes, in my opinion, with photographers. If you want appreciation, you just want popular fursuiters because people are looking at the fursuiter. They may appreciate Alps in the background. They may appreciate that a picture is in focus, that you are having interesting foreground and all of this stuff. It adds to the aesthetics. But if you take a picture of popular fursuiter and you take it with a phone and it's blurry and it's in an ugly place, then it's probably still going to have more traction on social network than a very dedicated portrait of a fursuiter in a beautiful place with an interesting idea. You can put as much effort into it as much as you want, but if it's an unknown suitor, it's just not going to get the likes that you were hoping for.
Mm-hmm. But I would even say that the same applies to artwork. If you got a known fursuiter or known fursona, in that case not fursuit anymore, a known fursona and draw art of them, you would probably get more traction and more likes simply because this person that is already known has a broader audience to share the photos with their audience,
Absolutely.
making you also more, let's say, known, having them act as a what's it, not a megaphone, but yeah, amplifier, multiplier, where you get more audience simply because they already have the audience. From my experience, from my perspective, I'd say.
Also, with general art, I think that everybody has seen those comics where an artist is working on his masterpiece for a week and then posts it online and gets 3 likes, and then doodles some porn for 5 minutes and gets 5,000 likes because, hey, porn. It's unfortunately not about the effort you put into it, it's about the subject for most. There is definitely going to be artists or other photographers that are going to take a look at your picture and they are going to marvel about the creative use of light, about the wonderful framing, and about the creative use of the location. But this is for photographers. Photographers are going to enjoy your photography. But most of the people that are looking at the photo are just going to look for the subject. And that gets us to the phone cameras. Phone cameras are, like you say, democratizing it because we are no longer unique. Everybody can take a picture of a popular furry. And so that doesn't make us super special. And I think that's a good thing because if you think about it, yeah, somebody may talk about dumbing down the photography process. But the same can be said about normal cameras. 20 or 30 years ago, you would have to know how to develop the film. You would have to focus manually. You would have to do exposition measuring. And all of these are skills that photographers of old had to master. And then somebody comes with autofocus. And you have spent years mastering a skill, and then it's suddenly not useful anymore because everybody can do that. They just press the trigger and suddenly it focuses on its own. And phone cameras are just another step in this direction. And they are evolving. They are getting better at post-production. They are doing that all for you. They are learning how to focus. They are learning how to blur the background. They are suggesting the composition that is going to look appealing. They're doing everything for you. All you need to do is find an appealing fursuiter, an appealing location, and press the trigger. And as much as I regret that I'm not special anymore, I think this is a great thing that everybody can put their ideas into photos.
Yes, it is definitely competition for the photographer and for those that put a lot of effort into their photos and have to compete with the availability, the readiness that you basically have. You not only can take the photos, but you can also take videos with it. And nowadays, that's more of a concern for the photographer, I'd say, especially if they want to have some kind of reach, some kind of likes, and some kind of recognition for their work, is not the fact that the phone cameras do proper photos and work for most cases that most people want to have photos in. It's probably the fact that the phones can also do videos with very, very ease, with very much ease, like easily. Easily is the right word for it. They can easily do videos as well. And nowadays, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you get the traction and the fame by doing videos. You just have to film yourself standing in front of the camera and moving your arms up and down and put some music on it. It doesn't even care or matter what music you put on there. You just stand in front of the camera, film yourself existing, and then you get like 100, 200, 500 followers simply for that. Just because you have a cute fursuit or are already known for other places and for other things that you do. And this can be,
If it's so easy, why don't you do it?
I don't have a fursuit, that's why I don't do it.
But it's a good point. A good point.
But you have a fursuit, why don't you do it?
Because it doesn't work. My fursuits are semi-realistic and people want smiling fursuits. And both of my fursuits have a resting bitch face. They are mirroring their owner and they are constantly glaring at people. So I don't think that they are ever going to be popular. But that's, again, the same thing. I would really, really like them to be popular. But I really, really like realistic and semi-realistic. So in the end, the bull was originally supposed to be toony, and then I've decided I want semi-real because it looks great and I want it that way. So why are you photographing, Pencil? What is the thing that is making you grab the camera and start taking photos?
I would answer that question in a short while because there's this Kagetsu fursuiter that is getting traction or getting popular, which is not a smiley toony face, but completely blank and neutral in expression, and also showing himself in completely neutral situations. Maybe the fact that this person is doing something new and something unusual, maybe they're known for that because of that. But I don't think it has to be the, let's say, super funny, toony, happy face that would work. If you do it, for example, with the filming of yourself and you have a semi-realistic or grumpy face fursuit, I think depending on the setting that you do, I think it could still work to become popular in that regard, just like the neutral face Kagetsu Suda is currently getting popular.
But you are absolutely right that being cute is not the only way to do it. It just makes it so much easier.
It's mainstream.
Yeah. In many things, including photography, you can work things out. If you people say I'm talented, I'm refusing to think I'm talented because learning for me was incredibly difficult. I think a talented person is learning quickly. I had to work for it. I had to learn very slowly. And at some point, you get there. B- Photography was fun for me, so I've continued. And fursuiting is also fun, but I like interaction with people, and I just don't like standing in front of camera all that much. And I'm lazy to post my photos when I get them. So to be fair, it's definitely not just about having semi-realistic characters. It's also about not putting enough work into getting the exposition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, your question was,
My question was, what makes you photograph? Why do you take a camera and photograph?
I'm a simple person, and I would simply say because I think personally, without putting too much praise on myself, I think I'm good with it. Because I think that's something I can do, and it's something that fits into the whole fandom as well. Because photographers, at least when I started out, there weren't many around. Like there was Chaotica, there was you, there was one or two other photographers whose name I currently forgot that basically do this since like 2018 and earlier. But back then, photography in the fandom was not important, not at all. It has gained a lot more traction, I think. At least I'm talking about Europe. I don't know about the US and everything like that. I think they're way behind or way longer active photographers there. But at least in Europe, I don't
There is
think there are many.
Lucasia there is Hina there. I know definitely quite a few American photographers that I definitely admire, but
They are quite a long time already in the fandom and doing photos and being like that. So I think the Americans have it had much sooner than we have, but in Europe it took a while to actually get on and find attraction. So yeah, I kind of joined in because I know I can do photos, and I was like, hey, that's something I could probably offer, and it kind of worked out. And that's basically my
so
motivation.
okay, so your motivation is, hey, I'm good at it. I'm going to do it because I'm good at it. You just
Yeah.
photograph and you are like, yeah, I'm so good. That's great.
Well, I did not start out with fursuit photography. I did start out with animal and nature photography. At least I tried to, but it didn't pan out. And then I went into people photography. It was like, okay, I can do that. And then I went back to animal photography. And yeah, I kind of been swinging between animal and people. Landscape was never my forte. I really suck at landscape photography. But at some point, I just found the fandom and was like, okay, I already do photos. So why not bring my camera to fursuit walks and meets and everything like that when there are fursuit running around? So it kind
I
of
mean, I have similar background. I also started as wildlife photographer, but the thing is, I'm wondering what motivates you. Just the fact that you are good is like, why do you develop the photos if it's just about being good? Why do you edit the photos?
the fun part is I typically don't when I'm not being paid for it. I have so many, yeah, I have so many photos from my holiday trips and from, let's say, family events. I mean, family events, of course, I try to do it at some point, but it will take 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to get them out because I don't have the motivation or the, let's say, hammer of payment over my head that will bat me if I don't deliver on things. When I'm doing, for example, running around through the
So,
street. Hmm?
if I may, would you say that you just like the process? You enjoy the process of photographing
Yes. I don't have.
more than
Hmm?
actually presenting the photos?
Exactly. I don't mind going around with the camera and having fun with the camera, doing the photos, seeing what I can do, seeing it in the camera and being like, okay, yeah, this composition works well. This is a great photo. Oh, I found a street cat on the way and there was a human interacting with the cat and it's a cute photo. I see and know that I took a cute photo of a human and a cat in the street while I'm out in Berlin, for example, or out in Cologne or Bonn. Or I might have found some interesting statue that was defaced. For example, during COVID, I found a statue that was defaced with a COVID mask.
I
Defaced.
see.
I took the photo and was like,
Uh,
okay, I like the photo and never got to editing it because, or
you
who?
you don't have you don't feel the urge to show that off.
No. I mean, kind of when I kind of, but no.
Interesting. That's really interesting. That's very different from me. For me, I started with wildlife photography because I would like to be an artist, but I just don't have the patience. And the advantage of photography to art is that if you are really not talented with visual stuff, photography is going to give you at least something, some kind of result. While learning drawing or general, while learning to make art, is you can spend days and weeks drawing circles and squares and triangles and slowly paving your way towards being actually able to make a animal or a human. And this is something I just don't have patience for. So I started photographing animals because I like animals. And then I've realized that I really enjoy showing the results of my work.
But to who?
To whoever is willing to watch.
Even those unwilling, you just go up to them, be like, okay, here's my photo, take it.
Yeah, exactly. You just grab them by their scruff and you stuff your your phone into their face. I'm not doing this because I'm too shy, but yeah, whenever somebody wants to interact with me and shows any interest in photos, I'm going to be able to show him endless stream of photos and I'm going to tell him stories that are connected with the photos. I have two photo albums, which I call a showcase of how I was an idiot. And each of those photos that I can show there has a story behind them. And I just love presenting them to some audience. So this one motivation for me. The process itself is kind of fun, but for me means it's not the goal. It's the way to get there. And another thing that I love about photography, as I've already mentioned, is that it allows me to create fantastic scenes. I can take fursuiters and I can make them a military squad on a mission, or I can make them shamans which are summoning a demon, or whatever I can think about. I have a chance to.
I'm not creative enough for that.
Whatever I can think about, I can just put that into a sort of reality. I can make a photo of it, and this is something I'm really loving. And I think this is something that everybody should think about for himself. If it's just about getting likes, it's perfectly fine. But then you are going to be a slave to your audience. You will be forced to make pictures that appeal. And let's admit it, this is not going to be super creative. You will find out how to do it, and it's perfectly fine. It's a service to the community. People are going to love it, and it's perfectly okay in my book. But it's not necessarily something that I want to do all the time. I very much enjoy when my pictures are getting traction, when they are getting likes. But sometimes I really want to make something that is not going to get likes, but that is going to make me go, oh, I've done it. This is exactly the picture I want to look at.
Mm-hmm. But we have to think about the time. Sadly.
Okay, so let me make a quick conclusion. In my opinion, what you want to do is to decide why you photograph. What is it that you want to achieve? One option, of course, is going for the likes, and there is nothing wrong with that. If you want the likes, you want to photograph the popular fursuiters because that is going to bring you likes. Or maybe you want to earn money. In that case, you should absolutely focus on the satisfaction of your customers. And if you don't get that many likes, that doesn't really matter as long as the people that you are photographing for are happy and they are going to pay you. Or you want to get creative and you want to create something that pleases you. And in that case, even though it's very difficult to completely ignore the likes because everybody likes attention, or I do at least, so I assume that it's pretty much a natural thing. You just have to accept the fact that maybe you will create something that you absolutely adore and it doesn't get all that much attention. Or maybe there is a different reason why you want to photograph, and if that's the case, please let us know in the comments.
Our time is up. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Farsi Photo.
And I'm Pinsel, and we hope you had a good time in that 30 minutes.
We did. Have a good rest of the day, and let's hear from us in 2 weeks.
Wonderful. See you around.